Welcome to the 2012 Fusion Podcast, presented to you by the Oregon Ministry Network. Fusion took place November 8th through 10th at People's Church in Salem. The following message, entitled Team Oregon We Need You, was brought to us by Drew Smithson during the second general session.
Team Oregon for a few moments this morning. You're a team. You're here in Oregon. The Oregon Ducks, what a team. Hey, the Beavers are pretty good. You're a team of ministry leaders and my favorite team members of any ministry, because I've done kids work for our district for 10 years. I've done youth ministry work for 25 years, and probably next gen specifically 18 to 29 for probably 20 years, probably something like that. And so that whole age group, I just love it, and I love young people, and I love leaders who love them, and we'll hang out and go late nights and not much sleep and work hard. And then what I really love, I love you all, and I'd love to have some conversations with you this weekend. But would there be people in this room, I would assume, that you are not full-time paid for ministry and you're in this room? If that's you, stand up. You do something at a church, but you're not full-time paid. You might have another job or something else, but you are doing something at church. You're working, you're ministering, but you've got other things going on too. Can we give these beautiful people a hand? Because this is awesome. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, we love you all, and we who get a full-time paycheck from the ministry, from our church, whatever district, we love that. But I can relate, because when I started a little bit late, finally got my act together with the Lord about ministry, and so when I started, I'd already found my great wife, so we got married. I was listening to the Lord. I got to go into ministry. So at 22, I started being a youth pastor, part-time, worked 5 jobs, went to school to get my BA for ministry, and we had our first daughter. So stress, I understand. And not getting enough money from a church, I understand that too. So I'm with you, okay? I'm with you. So I got it. So I understand that. And to me, you're just a hero, because you're trying to do ministry, but you don't have some of the time that the rest of us all have. So thank you for that. And if you're working with young people, then you really are a hero. But do you mind standing for just a second? And you got your phone, or you got your Bible, or you got your tablet, and if you could turn to Exodus chapter 18 and verse 9 there. Familiar passage of Scripture to you, but a really great model of leadership that we find early on in the Bible. And we all know as we go through the Bible, if we'd read the whole thing, and we all do, it's all in there. Everything that we need, it's all in there. And I love it as I look around this room. Most people are looking on your phones for your Scripture. It's just a great era. It is just such a great thing. You forget your Bible. You don't even have a Bible anymore. It's on your phone. So it's a beautiful thing. But Exodus 18, verse 9 and following, Jethro was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel in rescuing them from the hand of the Egyptians. He said, "Praise be to the Lord who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who treated Israel with arrogance." Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and other sacrifices to God, and Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law in the presence of God. The next day, Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people, and they stood around him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, "What is this you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge while all these people stand around you from morning till evening?" Moses answered him, "Because the people come to me to seek God's will. Whenever they have a dispute, it is brought to me, and I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decrees and laws." Moses' father-in-law replied, "What you are doing is not good. You and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out." Wow, interesting leadership model there, that's for sure. Lord, thanks for this morning. Thanks for this chance to be with these leaders on a Friday as we're waking up. And thanks for a great night with Pastor last night. Thanks for our leaders, Brian and Barbara, putting this together, and all the team. And this is Team Oregon, Lord. These are key people all over this state to reach students. And I loved what Tom was saying about campus ministries. It's such a big deal. That's where our people are, Lord. So thank you for what's happening there. Thanks for what's happening in services of reaching kids. The earlier, the better, Lord. But also thanks for all that's going on reaching college students as well. So, Lord, thank you for these leaders. Bless them and bless our time in your name. Everybody said amen. Amen. Have a seat. Thank you so much. It's a crazy world, you know that, and in your era, most of your era, when Pastor asked when a lot of you were born last night, so many of you were born incredibly young. I mean, it blows your mind when you're 52 years old like myself to go, you were born in that year? Wow, let's see, I'm married with kids, it's just thank you for letting an old guy hang out with you, frankly. I mean, I got to be honest with you, but that's very cool. But you've grown up, you wouldn't know any better. You've grown up in the PC era. I'm not talking about computers, I'm talking about politically correct. That's what you've grown up in, right? Now, I remember before being this old, before everything was politically correct. And I was beginning to hear a little bit more in the 90s and early 90s about, hey, we got to be politically correct. We don't want to offend anyone. And I appreciate that. As you are up here, we're multicultural all over Southern Cal. And so I got it. And so for that, but some things just seem to me maybe a little crazy and what have you, extreme, we might say. So I've got 3 great kids, and as they were growing up, we would go to the library. Now, we know everything now we can find on a computer, and so we don't have to go to the library maybe as much. But back in the day, we'd go to the library. I liked it too, because I could study for sermons, and my kids were studying for their projects. So I'd go, I'd take them. We have a nice library in our town, and I'd hang out while they were studying. And so I'm just kind of looking around one day for resources, and I see there is a politically correct dictionary. And I'm telling you, it's thick, my friends. It's like 300 pages or more. It kind of blew me away. Maybe you've seen it too or whatever. And if you haven't, no big deal. It's a very good waste of time, but it is interesting. Now, my kids are studying. I've kind of studied for my talk, so I'm gonna look at this. I thought, man, this is amazing. And so what they have is one column that shows you what we used to say, and now it's not right or it's not appropriate to say that word. Now this is what we need to say. So I never thought about it, Pastor Brian, but many times I've owned older cars. And if they ran and got me someplace, no problem. And I didn't realize that saying that I have a used car, no, not good. What do we call used cars? They're pre-owned. Oh, now, hey, all right. I'm feeling better about my old car. It's pre-owned, so, whatever. Because used, that's not politically correct. Well, I'm looking through there, and I'm trying to find some things. And so, you folks don't know me yet, but I'm looking forward to our time in the next 24 hours. And so at this point, you probably want to say, well, Pastor, you can use to lose a little bit of weight. So you want to say, Pastor, you're fat. And you wouldn't say that because you don't want to offend me. We don't know each other. And after tomorrow, you could whatever. We'll be yucking it up and talking smack about how much better the Ducks are than USC and all this kind of stuff. And then I'll say, well, you talk to Oregon State. That's your battle this year, all right? That's your deal right there in the state. So we'll yuck it up. But you wouldn't say that. Thank you, because you don't want to offend me. And if you did say, it's not politically correct to call me fat anymore anyway, all right? No, I'm horizontally disadvantaged. And see what's nice? What's nice about that is, Pastor Brian, maybe I won't run 4 miles every day. Maybe I won't run tomorrow morning in this cold up here. Maybe I'll eat a donut tomorrow, because that makes me feel better, right, about myself. Horizontally disadvantaged. Now, you ladies, with us guys, come on, help us out. We get older. A lot of young bucks in here, and they look good. But we get older, and this goes away. This goes away, and we have less than we used to have. So, ladies, please don't offend your guys or any gentleman by saying, hey, honey or sir or whatever, you're getting a little bald. That bald is out. All right. Well, that is not politically. I checked it on the politically correct dictionary. That is not something we say. No, you have a hair disadvantage is what you have. And so then I go, thank you. That's very true. Hopefully it's not inside the brain. Hopefully it's on top of the head. But that's where it is. But this one really got me. We wouldn't want to offend a thief. You see somebody steal a candy bar. You see somebody rob a bank, whatever, and you're going, hey, there's the thief. I can identify him. There he is right there. No, they go to jail. They might get out. They might sue you or worse. So you don't want to offend a thief. And by the way, it's not politically correct anyway. thief is out. I checked out and politically, it got my attention. I thought, that's kind of interesting. No, those folks now, they're a non-traditional shopper. And I just love it. I just love it. They don't shop like you and I do. Boom. They just take whatever they want. Okay, non-traditional shopper. This crazy, crazy world. And as our pastor said last night, we need great, healthy leaders. There's no doubt about that. Now, a couple more things, and we'll get rolling here. Down in Southern Cal, there's a town, Long Beach. It's a little south of L.A., and recently, I don't know, up here, are parents crazy about their kids' athletics?
Yes.
Like crazy, like you go to a game with parents and it's like, you know, you might lose your Christianity or something almost, you know, right? Well, in Southern Cal, they are. I mean, they're just so passionate, and I think all parents are, and so I've had kids in sports, and so I know, and all the, well, I can relate to this story kind of, but in Long Beach, there's a coach, not too long ago, Little League coach, had been in Vietnam, had not even been wounded in Vietnam, got shot during a Little League baseball game. Under investigation, I didn't see how it came out, but they were trying to see, maybe it's a neighborhood, it's kind of a rough neighborhood, but under investigation was a family who was ticked off at the coach because he had the audacity to move little Johnny to right field, and they felt like that's the worst position for our kid, and so they were investigating the parents to say, you got a gun in your purse? That somebody shot the coach during the baseball game, this Vietnam vet. Wow. It's a whacked world. And finally, as we kick off, Sierra Nevada mountain range, of course, is a beautiful place. And not too long ago, there was a single female jogger who was up there jogging, and a mountain lion, unfortunately, got her, killed her. Happens every once in a while. If you're not, you're out in the hills, you got to be wise and careful. So unfortunate. 2 little kids. She's a single mom. People want to set up a fund to pay for the kids. No problem. I got a nice little doggy at my house, so no problem with animals, but they caught the mountain lion, they killed the mountain lion. So animal lovers said, hey, they found out the mountain lion has 2 little cubs. So we need to take care of the cubs. We need to raise funds because their mother is gone too. True story. And so, no problem, except for the 2 little kids, money came in, $800. To help with the kids. For the mountain lion cubs, $2,000. Maybe you're probably not whacked like we all are in California, but I think our world is just a little crazy, a little wet, and boy, do we need great, healthy leaders. Our pastor talked to us last night. Not just Christians. Do we need Christians? Oh man, we need Christians. But we need not only Christians, but great healthy leaders. And these kind of moments that we are together give us these opportunities to grow and get healthy and impact people. And a lot of people need some impact, and they need to get their priorities straight, do they not? So let's talk about that just for a few moments this morning. Number one is there's 3 things for you. What makes a great leader? When you think of a great leader, you probably have somebody in your mind that you would think of, and then there would be some characteristics that you would put down that's why that they are a great leader. So you've got that in your mind, and let me just suggest a few to you that we might think of, and then add one more to the list. But maybe we would think of, especially we're a little older, but we've seen enough, heard enough of John F. Kennedy. Maybe we would say he was a great leader. He was a president. He was good looking. He was slick. He was sharp. He was a great speaker. And so we might say, that's a great leader. He kind of had it all from that standpoint, kind of the look, and he could talk it, okay? So that might be one we would say. No doubt we would say George Washington. That's a great leader, our first president. And back in those days, the president led the military, right? We got all these troops that we sent, and we understand that Afghanistan and all that. President Obama's not going over there with them to fight, but George Washington, that's what you did. That's the leader. You're leading the troops, and so we respect him, and we know he was a great leader. What about Abraham Lincoln? I think we would all say that. A man who stood on principles no matter what, those principles would eventually kill him. Talk about standing on principles till death. Wow, what a leader. And did you know this? He went for 15, you probably know this, he ran for 15 public offices. He lost 12 times. 12 out of 15. A team, his winning percentage, if my math is correct, his winning percentage was 20%. Baseball player, he's hitting 200, right? 12 out of 15, he lost. Oh, eventually he won the ultimate prize, though. What about a guy who'd never quit? I mean, maybe you thought, I'll never reach that dream. I have this dream. about children's ministry, youth ministry, college, our church. And you think, I'm never going to... Hey, I want you to think about Abraham Lincoln. They had to kill him to stop him. And even when they killed him, the dream became a reality. Pretty awesome. So that's somebody we could look at, right? That's pretty good. What about, and I do this for my friend, especially Brian Eno, what about Vince Lombardi? Being a Packer fan that he is, right? The Super Bowl trophies named after him. The first 2 Super Bowls the Packers won. Here's some things that he said about leadership. Hard work is the price we must pay for success. I think you can accomplish anything if you're willing to pay the price. He also said people who work together as a team will win, whether it's against complex football defenses or the problems of modern society. Pretty good. And finally, on Vince Lombardi, there's a lot of good things that he said, but the measure, check this out, the measure of who we are is what we do with what we have. Let me give that to you one more time. The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have, using our own gifts and abilities and all of that. So obviously we would say he's a great leader. We admire great leaders. We follow them. They inspire us, great leaders. There's no doubt about that. But you could be a powerful leader but not be good or great, right? You can be powerful, but you're not great or good for some obvious reasons. Hitler was a powerful leader. So convincing he could get one culture, one people to torture another race. He could convince them to do that. And we all know that through history. He was powerful. He said this, Hitler, I'm sure you've heard this quote, if you lie long enough and loud enough, it becomes a truth. That was his personal motto. Whatever you believe, it may be a lie, but if you're loud about it and you're passionate, people will believe it. Boy, did they, to the detriment of the Jewish people and to the detriment of this world. So he was a powerful leader, but he wasn't a great leader. For your consideration, our consideration this morning, I'd like to suggest to you Moses was a great leader, but not for some of these reasons that we've already talked about this morning. But Moses, I think, was great. Let's look at his leadership style. Now, we might think, you're going to be a great leader, you've got to have some ego. So, and a lot of them do. I mean, that's why they kind of advance and they get it done and they push through and they advance their vision or what have you. But we see with Moses, and we see in the Bible, Moses was one of the most humble people ever. Now, he's leading a big crew. But humility, I want to suggest to you, is one of the great qualities, is a great quality of great leaders. Humility is very important, that we depend on the Lord. It's something that I love about Brian and Barbara. They're great leaders, are they not? But they're humble. Brian picks me up yesterday and I say, hey, just drop me off. I know you're busy with this conference. And he was, but he said, it's no problem because I've got a great team and they're getting everything ready. Now that's awesome. That's awesome when you realize you don't have to be the superstar. We have one superstar who started this movement, Jesus Christ. We don't need any more. All we need to do is find our place and serve. And so I just love that about Brian and Barbara. I loved even his line to me yesterday about that. So humility is a quality. What about being a great speaker? Do you have to be a great speaker to be a great leader? Well, if it's a natural for you, that's wonderful. That's kind of like a bonus. If you can speak well, it's a bonus. But I want to suggest to you, you don't have to be a great speaker. I want to suggest to you that you've got to love people, though. And our pastor said that last night. Loving people is one of the deals. I don't know if you know this brother, but a man named Lee McFarland. He used to work at Microsoft, made 6 figures. God called him out of that to go and pastor. Now, any of us pastors in here making 6 figures, raise your hand. I am not. I'm just encouraging you to raise your hand. I'm not. Any of you making 6 figures from the ministry? Thank you very much. Okay, that's not why we're in there. And he laid that down to go pastor a church in a town called Surprise, Arizona. Now, I know Phoenix, and I know Tucson. Surprise? Are you kidding me? It must have been a surprise. It was a surprise. But in a matter of years, this brother who had Microsoft, he knew computers. He did not know the Bible by his own testimony. He grew a church of 5,000 people. And he would say it. I'm not a great speaker, but I do love people. So I say a quality of a great leader is you've got to love people. I echo what our pastor said last night, and I think it's very important. So you're humble. You love people, all right? We think about Moses himself. Was he a great speaker? He probably was, but we also know that he would stutter. Or at least he would say to the Lord, I'm not a great speaker. Why are you choosing me? But God did choose him, and he did great things through him. So that's pretty awesome. I would say another characteristic of a great leader is a hard worker. I think you're just going to have to be. I think it's the only way it's going to work. And we'll talk about balance later on. But you have to be a hard worker. I mean, is that a good characteristic of a leader? I think it is. Maybe you can be too much. Probably part of his success, Donald Trump, is that he's a hard worker, wise investor, sure, but a hard worker. Now, he says that he can make it every day on 4 hours of sleep. Now, I have tried that. I've tried it myself. Okay, look how successful he is. If I'm going to be successful in ministry, 4 hours of sleep. No, I get migraines. I can't do it. I need a little more sleep than that brother does, right? And so, but that's what he does. You don't have to do it. But we do have to work hard, I think, if we're going to be a great leader. And there's always plenty to do for the kingdom. That's for sure. But if we're going to be a hard worker and we're going to have a team, we also have to say to our team, I'm never going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't do. I really believe that. I really believe, sometimes we have to study as the leader. We have to do some things, but sometimes we just all need to get in there, and we just need to, we need to get involved. I don't know if you know who Dave Ramsey is, but financial advisor, Christian, pretty awesome. I heard him do a talk there's a conference, not AG, but another conference called Catalyst, and in Southern California, they'll come a lot of time. I heard him last year. This is a millionaire. This is a guy who's very wise. This is a man who has an incredible company and advises us all. Cut up our credit cards, and it's very good. It's very good advice that he gives us. But he's talking about one day there was a load that came in. A bunch of books were coming into their office. They were a little short-handed. Here's the president. Here's a guy who's a millionaire, very successful. He's out unloading the boxes with the crew. Now, what are you saying to your staff? I'm busy, but we have a deadline. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do. That's pretty cool. That's a hard worker, but with an incredible attitude to help us. So I say that is another characteristic. And finally, on this thought, I think another characteristic is, what about being a servant? Shouldn't we be a servant leader? Doesn't it follow that we need to be a servant, and again, that we would do anything to support and be a part of that? Well, during our era, I think we would agree, one of the great servant leaders, models of this that we've ever seen is Mother Teresa. Talk about a servant leader. A young boy wrote a letter to Mother Teresa. He asked her how he could make a difference with his life, like she had with hers. For months, he didn't hear anything from her. Then one day, he received a letter from Calcutta, India. He expectantly opened it up and read 4 words that changed his life. Find your own Calcutta. That's what we've got to do. What's your Calcutta? It's your city. It's your people that God's called you. Find it, do it, work it hard, serve those people so that you can make a difference, coming from one of the great servant leaders of our time. Those make a great leader. Number 2, quickly, is great leadership involves a team. We need a team, that's for sure. I had done youth ministries for our district youth director for quite a while, and our Christian Ed children's director left. And there was a period of time that people were covering it, but there wasn't a district director. And so my superintendent came to me and said, hey, would you, because some districts do that, and of course that's what you folks do up here, that the youth director also does Christian Ed. And so I thought about it and I prayed about it. I thought, I'm going to get busier. I'm already busy, but I'm going to get busier. But then I began to think about it. And I know you know what this is. We have them in a kind of our valley of California, but it's silos. You know what silos are? So you have all these grains, right? Different kinds of grains that they kind of poured out into trucks, and then trucks take them to different stores and cities and all of that. Silos, right? You know that. And so I thought, you know what? We have silos in our churches. We got kind of the children's ministries kind of doing this, and then we have the youth ministries kind of doing this, and if we have college ministries, we have this. Everybody's a little bit disjointed, it seemed like to me. What if we could bring them together and get rid of the silos? So I thought about it, and I said to my superintendent, I will do it. Now, I didn't know it was going to be for 10 years. It was 10 years. But as I'll say, I think tomorrow is the elective I have with the children's pastors. Looking forward to that. It's probably my greatest surprise of my life. It was probably the greatest surprise, because I thought, well, I'll help out my superintendent. Little did I know what the Lord had in store for me working with people from 8 to 12. I was used to 12 to 18, and then I went from 18 to 29, and then I went back to 8 to 12. I didn't know what the Lord had for me. Just an incredible surprise working with those people and the leaders. It was awesome. But I thought, if I can help get rid of the silos, and we can actually journey with people for a while, And I tell people all the time, if I haven't helped you by, because I've got people now, I've been involved in this ministry 25 years. So there's some people that were 8, and they're probably over 29. So I said, if from the ages of 8 to 29, if I haven't helped you by now, you need someone else. You've got to go find somebody else older to help you, because I've done all I can for the last, 20 years or so. All right, so you got to go, and that's kind of my joke with them, because I've walked with you and I've journeyed and I've loved you, and so it's really fun. But we have a chance to affect a generation if we'll hang out with these people. But the more of us that hang out and do this, the better. Now, I prefer football, baseball, and basketball. I like team sports. I really don't like golf and tennis that much. And the reason I don't is I got to do it myself, right? Now, golf, maybe scramble. Okay, or best ball, thank you very much. Okay, somebody's going to help me, right? Best score. Kind of almost like Christian cheating. It's great. So, somebody's going to help our team. But individual, I don't like it. I'm not good at it. But I like just the dynamic of a team has to work together if you're going to be successful. And that's true in a church. The more people working together, they get on the same page, it's awesome. And I like the dynamic of team working together. And we celebrate when we win. We're going to do something new for us in Southern Cal with our convention. In fact, it's 2 weeks from today. And we've never done this before, but we felt like the Lord's leading us there, and so we're going to do it this year and trying to be more specific. It's going to be 2 conventions in one. We're going to separate our junior high and our high school the whole time. Now, they're going to get the same thing. It's just the junior high service will be a little shorter and have probably some more games than the high school will get. But the junior high will come in, and there'll be a service, and the high school, we got this gigantic game room and electives for them. Then they'll switch, and we'll do that 4 times through the weekend. So we're pretty pumped about it, and we'll see if it's the Lord's idea or our idea. If it's our idea, it's not going to work. If it's the Lord's idea, it's going to be phenomenal. So I'm excited. But a week ago tonight, I was at a birthday party of my #1 junior high leader in Southern California. It was his birthday. I wanted to go. And as I left, we're fist pumping, we're high-fiving. We're so excited about the potential of what God could do specifically for junior high and high school. We're excited. We're a team. He's on my team. He's excited. He's encouraging. I'm encouraging back. It's just fun when you create together as a team. Jethro loved hearing what God was doing for the people of Israel through his son-in-law Moses. But when he saw that Moses was the only leader for 600,000 men or so, and with the women and children, at least 1 million people. When he said, you're the one judge, you're going to kill yourself, and these people are going to die waiting for you. You've got to set up levels of structure, right? You've got to set up levels of team. Other people have to judge. Surely you have other great leaders that could come alongside. You decide the major stuff, develop all these other leadership topics from God. It's God's idea that we have a leadership team. So as you think about your team at your church, do you have a team, 1 and 2? Are you on the same page? And if you're not, Jesus, help us to get on the same page. Help us to catch the same vision. Help us to get there, because it's God's idea that we do that. Now, there's a lot of benefits to working together, that's for sure. But one I really love is that we watch out for each other. And when we watch out for each other, because we love each other, we're in community, we're in relationship, then we can speak into each other's lives, right? We should be able to do that in love. And one of my great youth pastors recently, over the last year, I just noticed something and incredible. They could have done my job next, and it's sharp. But I noticed this one little deal, and I've been kind of a mentor to them, and so I'm watching them, and I'm noticing his wife, who's very talented singer, worship leader, all these kind of things. But I'm noticing his wife, and my wife's noticing it too, that she is a little bit flirtatious with other people. So I thought, because I care about them, and we have relationship, and I've tried to be a mentor, and again, this is part of a team, I think, that we're together. We're trying to help each other, right? I just said I'm just concerned about this. My wife said that, whatever. As it turned out, she did go off. She did find another guy. They didn't heed our advice and divorced because she found another guy because she wouldn't listen to that advice. And I really believe that as a team, we got each other's backs. And sometimes we've got to take shots, and sometimes they didn't like it. I could tell when I said that to them, like, oh, you are so out to lunch. You are so out of it, Pastor Drew. What are you talking about? None of your business. Okay. No problem. The only reason I mention it is because I care. I love you. I want you to be married for decades. I want your kids to have their parents like forever. And that's my point. That's my only point. They didn't heed it, and God's worked it out for especially the brother who is a youth pastor and doing great. But we have each other's back. That's part of being a team. So we dream together, we work together, we get on the same page. But also, I believe that we need to have each other's backs. So if you see something because you have a relationship, now if you don't have a relationship, that's a hard deal to say, hey, I see this in your life. That's rough. But if you have a relationship, as a team, you can speak into each other's lives and avoid some of these kind of things. Finally this morning then, and I love this, as a team, great team, we empower people. I said it before, we have one superstar, Jesus Christ. Otherwise, we need to go after as many people to win them to Christ and get them on the team as we possibly can. I'm asked all the time, Pastor Drew, how many people are too much on the team? I don't know the number. Can we have too many leaders? I don't think so. Can we have too many children's workers in our church? No. Can we have too many youth workers or youth staff? Oh, that's too big. Oh, what if we had one leader for every kid or one leader for every youth? That's too much. Oh, that's not too much. So you probably heard there's a whole drive, and Tom would know about it very well, but it's called 5-on-1. It's a whole drive about 5 leaders. It could be a teacher, it could be a parent, it could be a youth pastor, it could be a children's pastor, but 5 adults in students' lives. How much is too much? It's not. So the more we have on the team, the better. And I love empowering people. When I was a youth pastor, this is what I did. When a student would come in, I would begin to identify, what's your gifting? Well, I knew with most cheerleaders, and we got a few of those in, you need to be my greeter. You're going to be my greeter. Now, you didn't have to kick and all this kind of stuff when people came in, right? But they're friendly, right? They're friendly. If I saw a student come in and they had a camera, oh, you're going to take pictures of our youth ministry everywhere we go. Or are you like a video cam? Great. You are our pastor of videography. Right? I give them all little titles and stuff, probably cheesy, but they seem to like it. And so I had a big leadership team of students because we wanted to get you saved. And once you were saved, come on. Sometimes they weren't even saved. Hey, I need you to do this. But by hanging out, they became a Christian. And I'd get criticism. Parents would say, they're not even a Christian. I said, they're coming to church. They're here at church. They seem to like us. We're working them. Right? Well, you're working them. I know. I'm trying to get them to like us, and then maybe they'll like Christ. Right? So I got in some trouble for that, but I had a big team. Some were saved, some were not. Eventually they all came around pretty good, so not too bad. And I've done that still on a district level. If Brian and Barbara hadn't left, there's no doubt, and I'm retiring. I'm 25 years, I'll retire at the end of the year and going to go hang out with adults all the time, senior pastor somewhere. I don't know if I'm excited about it or not. I'm not sure. I need prayer. Come on, let's gather right now. But I'm going to do that. It's time for it, and our district's getting younger, and that's cool. That's a cool thing. So, and so when I told my bosses that, they said, well, do you have some suggestions? No problem. I could think of 4 couples right off the top of my head. If they'd asked me, I could have thought of 4 more. If Brian and Barbara were still down there, they would have been in the mix. If that other couple that divorced, it had worked out, they would have been in the mix. I had so many to pick from, to the point where my bosses said to me, you have made our life hard. All 4 of these first ones that you've given to us, they all could do the job. I said, I know. Because I'm way into empowering. I don't have all the gifts. No problem. Maybe it bothered me when I was young. I don't remember. I haven't been young in a long time, obviously. Thank you very much. I don't remember. I really don't. Did it bother me? Maybe. Not anymore. I see somebody. I go after them. We needed it. You guys get it up here? Your quarterback on the Ducks, he's a freshman, isn't he? Yep. He's a freshman. So you had a senior, or whatever he was last year. He was pretty good, right? Your quarterback, he was fast, like all your guys are fast. Believe me, my head was hurting last week. They're running by me so fast. But I got it. But now this is a freshman. Somebody that coach recruited. And he's always recruiting because 1, 2, 3, or 4 years, I don't think 1, but 2 or 3 or 4 years, they're going to be gone, right? We get it. You get it. We got to do that in leadership. We're always recruiting. So for me, being 50, then I have a bunch of really good 40-year-old leaders down in SoCal. I have a bunch of really good 30-year-olds. I have a bunch of good 20-year-olds. This youth pastor is my best junior high leader. He's in his 20s. He's good. And now, and I've been doing it for years, I look at college students just starting to get in college and go, hey, I want you on our team. So some people say, boy, you have a big team. Yes, because I'm way into empowering. finally this morning back to my youth ministry, and it wasn't the greatest youth ministry in the history of the world, but we had a pretty good one. I liked that challenge of empowering, trying to get students in. And so there's this one gal that comes in, and her name is Lisa. And Lisa comes in and to our youth ministry, pretty gal, and I thought maybe she's a cheerleader or whatever. She has that kind of personality. She wasn't, and so I'm trying to find out, well, what's your giftings? What do you do? That, I'm going to find out. I don't ask it point blank like that, but I'm trying. What do you like? What do you do? Where do you hang out? So I'm telling you, friends, I am getting frustrated because I see that she's pretty and got a great spirit, and she's borderline Christian. She's kind of checking us out, all that kind of stuff. Nominal Christian at best, but she's coming around. She's hanging around, and so I'm trying to figure her out and all this kind of stuff, and so just trying to figure out, well, what do you do? Well, she comes to the Lord. She begins to grow, and I'm trying to call her a minister of something, but I can't figure out what her gift is. And so finally one day we're talking, and I find out she likes to cook. So I'm like, we like eating food in this youth ministry. Probably most Assemblies of God people do. At least SoCal we do. I don't know about you all, but we do down there, and we did at our church, and so we do it. And so I said, "What's your specialty?" To Lisa, "What's your specialty?" And so she said, "Chocolate chip cookies." I said, "Really?" She goes, "Well, my mom says that I can cook like," you know who Mrs. Fields is, right? I can cook like that. She's a teenager. And so I said, "Really? Minister of cooking specifically chocolate chip cookies." She's laughing about it and stuff. I say, I have a project. What's your Saturday mornings like? Not bad. Not really too bad. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to need a bunch of dozens of chocolate chip cookies every Saturday morning. And she's probably thinking, how fat do you want to get, pal? Like back to that politically correct era was not quite, in full swing, whatever. No, not for me. When our students come and visit, let's go door to door and give them your cookies as a welcome basket. Oh, okay, that's cool. So she would do that. So we have this other gal, Tina, who comes into our youth ministry, and Tina is not a Christian. But somebody invited her, she came, and all this kind of stuff. So I say to Lisa, we're going to go visit on Saturday. I need tons of cookies. Okay, so she bakes them, and they are like Mrs. Fields, and fresh on a Saturday morning. I was tempted. I probably had one or two once in a while, but most of it I save for the students, okay? And so Tina's one of these new students, and so we go to her house, and we go to other students' house, but we go to her house, and I say, hey, we're so glad you came last Wednesday. It's your first one, and we have a little gift for you. And she goes, what is it? And I said, well, one of the students, that's what they do. They bake cookies. We like our youth ministry that everybody has a gift. They all use them for the Lord, and hers is cooking, and she could smell that they were really good, and she starts crying. I thought at first maybe Saturday morning, it's early, we're waking her up. She's probably ticked off, but maybe she was, but when she smelled the cookies, it was life-changing. So we give her the cookies and all that kind of stuff. When she comes back the next Wednesday, she becomes a Christian. She comes forward, and I'm thinking it's my preaching or whatever it wasn't. And I talk to her and say, hey, Tina, it's so great to see you. And you've come to the Lord. And it's awesome. She goes, I'll be here every week. And I said, awesome. And so I'm going to try to figure out her giftings. But I said, so what was it? What did I say? What did I say that convinced you that Jesus Christ is it? And she said, Pastor Drew, nothing, no offense. Thanks for being kind. I said, okay, thank you very much. Thanks for coming to my house early Saturday morning. But it was actually the cookies. Nobody has ever done anything like that for I don't know that my own mother would cook me cookies, she said. I'm not sure. Maybe if I was hurt. When you brought those something and said, this is Christians? This is what Christians are like? I want to be a part of this. So I said, well, come here, Tina. So I pulled Tina over. Tina, this is the minister of cookie baking, Lisa. So I got them together. They became incredible friends. Empowering people. It's powerful. It's awesome. How many people are too much to be in your leadership circle? I don't think there's any limit to it. I think that's characteristics of a great team, that we're healthy enough to say, I want you, if you're 18 or you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or older, and I don't have time this morning, but we can talk sometime. One of the best youth leaders I know in Southern California is a retired fireman. He's 75 years old. He absolutely rocks. He is a youth leader at a church. He is amazing. So it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter that age. So we want to be great team members.
Thank you for listening to the 2012 Fusion Podcast. For more information on the Oregon Ministry Network and our events, please visit our website at oregonag.org.